a continuation of it's a beginning of a process, and it's koilel in it the levels of the Ein Sof. The levels going all the way into the final Geula. That's the connection of Kemei Tzeiska Meretz Mitzrayim, Aránu, Neflאות, that just like Yetzias Mitzrayim did not reach its fullest conclusion until we had the level of the redemption, the Matan Torah, where they became fully the level of Cherus. In a similar vein, the Gula Asida, the final redemption, is the ultimate level of the Geula. It's the conclusion, and Yetzias Mitzrayim is the beginning of that process. So now he's going to explain, based on this, how this has to do with Mashiach's times. Meaning what it says, that Kemei Tzeiska Meretz Mitzrayim, Aránu, Neflאות, that your day, like your days going on in Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders. What does it mean? Like the days of your going on in Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders. It should be like the day. Why does it say it plural? So, that's also what it says, like the days going, you're going out of the land of Mitzrayim. Yimei Loshanab, it says Yimei in the plural, all the days, from the days of the first redemption from the exile in Mitzrayim, until the future redemption, that'll be speedily in our days. Amen. These are all considered the days of your going out of Mitzrayim. How come? Like it's explained over there in the Maimon, that they are all a continuation. I knew this means that the fact that going out of the land of Mitzrayim was opened up the pipeline and the channel for the future redemption. Say the Bazahu, the order in this is every single day. From the time of going out of Mitzrayim until the future redemption. Comes about the going out of Mitzrayim in a much higher way than it was the day of going out of Mitzrayim and the day prior to today, etc., etc. Until the ultimate ascent of this in the future redemption. So in other words, every single day, starting from that first day that we went out of Mitzrayim, every day we're going out of Mitzrayim further. We're going out of Mitzrayim higher, until we'll reach the ultimate state of going out of Mitzrayim. That's going to be with Mashiach. And the idea behind this is, the Chazal said, B'chol dor v'dor, in every single generation. But Alter Rebbe adds in Tanya, B'chol yom v'yom, in every single day. Chayim, Odom, it's supposed to say Chayim, not Chayim. Chayim, Odom, Liris, is Atzmek, Ilu, Yotza Yom Mitzrayim. A person is obligated to see himself as if he went out today from Mitzrayim. What's this idea? What's the envisioning? What's the picturing myself going out of Mitzrayim mean in my service of Hashem? So it means exactly what we're saying now, that every day I need to continue this process and go up higher in the process of going out of Mitzrayim. Every single day there has to be the going out of Mitzrayim, especially during Krishma. Like the Alter Rebbe wrote, the Mashatiknu Parshas Yitzias Mitzrayim b'Shas Krishma Dafka. Why did they establish the parsha of going out of Mitzrayim, Parshas Vayomer, to be said Dafka by Krishma? True, we have to mention Yitzias Mitzrayim every single day. That's why the Chacham established to say Parshas Vayomer. But Parshas Vayomer, the third parsha of Krishma, seemingly, according to Nigla at least, really has no connection with the first two parshas. Not even close to each other. The first two parshas are Shema and V'Ahavta is the parshas V'Eschanon, when Shema is the parshas Ekev. They're also very similar in many psukim and concepts, that speaks about over there. But Parshas Vayomer is in a totally different Chumash. It's in Parshas Shlach and Chumash Bamidbar. It talks about totally different topics. True, we have to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim every day. But why the Chachamim combine it with part of Krishma? So the Alter Rebbe explains, Krishma and going out of Mitzrayim are considered one thing. They're one idea. The reading of Krishma is breaking out of my confines. The experience of Krishma, the love of Hashem, is about breaking out of my confines and limitations in my service of Hashem, conquering my Nefesh HaBahamis, breaking out of the prison of the Nefesh HaBahamis and the animal soul, which is the Yetzias Mitzrayim of every single day, which is the reason why we have to experience Yetzias Mitzrayim every day, which is the reason why we say Vayomer every day. So it makes sense to put Vayomer together with the first two parts of Krishma. The Indians have this idea. This idea that in Krishma there has to be the avoid of Yetzias Mitzrayim is not just in the morning Kriyashma. Usually it's incorporated as part of our Shachris, but it's also the night Kriyashma. The Chiddush is that we might think that you don't say Vayomer by night. Part of it is because it mentions tzitzis. Tzitzis has nothing to do with by night, which goes with Rambam, like the Rambam wrote, Masha Koyden, Pashas Tzitzis Gam, Krishma Shalar. The reason why we say Vayomer also in Krishma by night. Though the mitzvah of tzitzis, it's a daytime mitzvah. It's not a nighttime mitzvah. I'm not going to get into the differences in halacha, day clothes, night clothes. The main thing is it's called a mitzvah that's time dependent. That's why women are not obligated in it, because it has to do with the day. The reason the Rambam says that we mention it by night, because it commemorates the going out of Mitzrayim. And since Kriya Shema is about going out of Mitzrayim in the spiritual sense, so we combine to it the level of Vayomer, which is also about that. This is also the discussion that we have in the Haggadah. In the Haggadah it says, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, I was like 70 years old, and I couldn't get my colleagues to agree with me to say Yetzias Mitzrayim by night. He was referring to saying Parshas Vayomer. His colleagues were saying by night there's no mitzvah of tzitzis, like the Rambam, or whatever other reason they were saying it. Why? But the point is, Vayomer, we say it in the morning. When we say Krishma in the morning, we say Vayomer. By night, we don't say Parshas Vayomer. Till Ben Zoyma came along and derived it from the pasuk Laman Tiskut Yemteiskom Mitzrayim Kol Yemei Chayecha. Since Yemei Chayecha is going on the days, that shows us there's the obligation to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim by daytime. Therefore, we say it part of the daytime Krishma. Kol Yemei Chayecha l'Rabbis Haleilos Lahavi Haleilos. All the days of your life, that extra word Kol teaches us that also it's by night as well. We have the chiyuv to read Parshas Vayomer as part of Krishma. Okay, getting back to our topic about the plural of the words Kime, 4 lines from the bottom. So Kime says Mitzrayim. That's what it says. Like your days of your going out of Mitzrayim, Yemei Loshen Rabim, Yemei in the plural. After Yetzias Mitzrayim, though, as we asked at the beginning of the Ma'amer, Yetzias Mitzrayim was only one day. Through remembering daily going out of Mitzrayim, that the first time around was only one day. We create that it should be the days going out of Mitzrayim. It should be in the plural. We make it plural leavings of Mitzrayim because we mention it, we take it to heart, we work on going on Mitzrayim on a daily basis. Every single day we go out of higher and higher levels of constraints and boundaries. So what was previously Yetzias Mitzrayim yesterday, now I'm in a state outside of yesterday's Mitzrayim V'Gvulim. But in comparison to tomorrow, I have now a new constriction and constraint that I need to break out of that, like Chassidus always talks about. The matzav shel varatzdom, we relocate ourselves to a place of breaking forth, bursting forth, which varatzdom means l'maylam and dida v'akbala, beyond measure and boundary, top of page mem. Until we come to the promise of your bursting forth through Mashiach Tzidkenu, with the future redemption with Mashiach, like it says about Mashiach, that he has to do with the idea of bursting forth. It says about Mashiach, Allah hapoyretz lefneim, that the one that bursts forth will go up before them, as it says a pasuk in Micha. The Zel Mashiach ben David, the idea that Mashiach is the one that bursts forth. He is from the children, the offspring of David, because David is the level of, comes from Peretz, as we'll soon explain. What then was called Peretz, one of the two sons of Yehuda, because he burst forth. Gamma Siman al Mashiach, who another also a sign from Mashiach is that it's not just that he's just a descendant from David. His very being reflects David in the way he acts. That he learns Torah and he's involved in mitzvahs like David, his father, and he fights the wars of Hashem like David HaMelech fought. So his association with David is not just a biological one, but it's on all levels. And what is David about? David, who made Peretz. David is from the offspring and from the descendants of Peretz, of the twins that Yehuda had with Tamar. It says about Peretz that when he pushed himself forward and over his twin brother Zerach, it says about him, Ma parafta lecha Peretz. Why did you burst forth Peretz? Which indicates that the idea of Mashiach, who descends from him, is pritzas kol agdarim amdidas v'agbolos. It's breaking through and bursting forth from all boundaries and limitations and constrictions. That is brought about by our going out of all limitations and constrictions and boundaries, etc. Oisei, v'hinei seidus of the gula, this order of the redemption. Shemaskal Mitzias Mitzrayim Kipshuta begins from this literal going out of Mitzrayim. Va'ad Shaboim al Yidei Avoida, the Tzchias Mitzrayim Kol Yom, the Gula Shlema de Yala Apers Panenu, until we come through the Avoida of remembering the going out of Mitzrayim every day. And eventually we come to the complete redemption through the one that will burst forth before us through Mashiach. It's not just over history. And over history, we have the different stages and different steps and the different days of redemption and going out of Mitzrayim. But every day we have the going out of Mitzrayim. Meaning every day we have the going out of Mitzrayim in the whole process of what we do, starting the beginning of the day and going on. At the beginning of the day, before davening, a person finds himself in constraints. In the constraints and the boundaries of the body. Pasuk says, withhold yourself from, Navi Shai says that you should withhold yourself from a person that his soul is in his nostrils, meaning a human being. How was he created? Hashem blew his soul into his nostrils. In other words, what significance does a person have? His soul is in his nostril. Because what is his value? What is his worth? That's the simple meaning of the pasuk. Chazal say, Al tikra bameh ela bama. Do not read the word bameh, which is what significance does it have, but it means bama. Bama is the altars that was brought in the time of Yisrael. Often they were used for Avodah Zarah. Literally, Bama means a high place. related also to the Hebrew word bima. Bima was always a raised area, a raised platform. So bama means that it's a high place, indicating arrogance, indicating things having to do with idolatry and ego. So that means that at the beginning of the day, the neshama is only in the nostrils of the person. Meaning, just like initially, when Hashem created Adam Rishon, he blew the person Adam Rishon's neshama into his nostrils, and then from the nostrils, obviously, it invigorated and enlivened the rest of his body. The same thing by us with our nefesh elokis every morning. It begins with our nostrils, and the einam is pashetas baguf. The neshama still, when I'm first waking up, our nefesh elokis did not yet expand and make itself felt and evident in the entire body. Therefore, a person at that time of the day, when he has not yet done Torah mitzvahs, when he first woke up, he is considered like this bama altar, which means it is the powerful constraints and boundaries of the coarseness of the body. Therefore, since that is the stage that a person is at the beginning of the day, the beginning of a person's avodah is still in a way of sublimating his nefesh bahamis. He overpowers coarseness of the body and the animal soul, and on the other side in general, on the clip in general. Until he affects and influences that also the body and the animal soul respond amen against their will. He's borrowing from the term that's used that when a Yid comes home Friday night and his Shabbos home is ready for the meal and et cetera, et cetera. So the negative forces, the negative angels, have to be forced to respond to the blessings and good wishes that the good angels give when he escorts, that escorted him home. In a similar vein, the Rebbe uses this term and says there's times, the beginning of the day, where because of iskafia, we force the body and the animal soul to answer Amen. V'yisayu labed Hashem, and they have to help out in the service of Hashem. L'poyel, to daven, learn, to do any mitzvah, it's impossible just for nefesh elokis alone to do it. Nefesh elokis has to be enclosed in the animal soul, which animates the physical body, to be able to do all these things. You need to use also things from Klippas Noiga often. So therefore, even when I am forcing my nefesh bahamis and body and klippa to go along, they still haven't become transformed. They're assisting, but they're doing it bal karcha. Also, this is only in a way that we are sublimating the klippa. We haven't transformed the animal soul. We haven't transformed the body, etc. But eventually, later in the day, through the process of davening, he arrives at the level of transforming now the nefesh bahamis and so on. And in the transformation itself, there's also various steps. Initially, it's in such a way that my heart is just empty within me, or the klippa, the nefesh bahamis, is like dead within me. In other words, you haven't truly transformed it, but it doesn't resist. It's not there to fight you. It's empty. And the next step is after V'li Bichol B'kirbi. So then there's a further step. He reaches the stage of you should love Hashem your God with all your heart. It says two bases to think that the love has to be with both Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara, Shagami Yetzer Hara Gufa, Nefach L'Tov. Also, the Yetzer Hara itself becomes transformed to good, and we see this also as well in the world. This transformation, doing Shuva Shleim, Shuva Ma'ava, similar to a complete Shuva, a Shuva out of love, that the intentional sins become like mitzvahs. Until they become not just like mitzvahs, but they actually become merits. So there's two. So in the Isafka of the tshuva out of love, there are various levels. So that reflects what goes on in the person himself. First, there's a skafi in the person, then there's a level of Isafka on a daily basis. These two aspects that's on a daily basis, skafi, Isafka, dugmas hagula dietzias Mitzrayim, begula, see that's similar to the geula of going on in Mitzrayim and the future redemption. It's going on in Mitzrayim is in a way of Iskafi, as we'll explain, and the future redemption is in a way of Ishaf. The Bitzias Mitzrayim, going on in Mitzrayim, it says that the nation ran away. And the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, why did they have to run away? Why did they have to seemingly use subterfuge and mislead Pari into thinking that they were only going for 3 days? If they would have told Pari, since he was scared of his own life by Makas B'chayris, that they're going for good, Pari would have for sure let them go. Why did he have to use this type of thing to mislead Pari? But the reason was because the bad was still in its full force by the Yidden. And because it was in full force by the Yidden, the subterfuge was not used for Pari, but it was used they had to run away from the bad that was in them. If they would have been told, if the Yidden would have thought that they're leaving Mitzrayim, the Memta Shari Tumah, for good, they wouldn't have wanted to leave. Lost love in the future. Will be the spirit of Tumah. I will remove from the earth. Similar to what it says, my heart is empty within. So you have the first stage. You have the Skafia, which was when they went on Mitzrayim, and removing the spirit of Tumah from the land. That's like the further stage that we spoke about, the heart empty within me. There's no spirit of impurity. Not only that, the next stage is in Mashiach's times, we say them as even more so. Also, the bad itself become transformed to good. Similar to what it says, with all your heart, with both Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara, which of course, like it says, then I will transform the nations. Clear language that all of them should call out in the name of Hashem to serve Him as one. Also, the nations themselves will be transformed to serve Him. So that's like taking Nefesh Bahamis, Yetzer Hara, and he should also love Hashem. And foreigners, meaning non-Jews, will arise and they will take out these sheep to graze. Not only is it about people that we see this transformation, but we see this transformation even in the animal world. That is a Balachayim, so too it will be in animals. Like it says, it says in Parshat, I will cause the wild animals, the bad animals to cease from the earth. What does that mean? So some say that it means that there won't be wild animals anymore. But the Rebbe goes according to the opinion, he stops them that they should not do any more harm. Instead of being carnivores, they now become herbivores. They, instead of eating and attacking other animals, they are just going to eat grass like we'll soon see. Even though when Mashiach comes, there'll also be these wild animals will still exist. Still know they will not harm anyone. Not only will they not harm, they will assist the service of Hashem. Where do we see this? So he says, like it says, Gar Zevim Kevis, that the wolf will live together with the sheep, with the lamb. Va'aryeh kebakar, and a lion, like cattle, will eat straw. So we see that, first of all, they won't be harming each other. Second of all, they'll be eating, food like non-dangerous animals. But the Rebbe takes it a step further. The fact that the Navi puts them together, the Rebbe derives from that even more so. The fact that the Torah puts them together, the Navi puts them together, that means the benefit that we will receive from the wolf will be similar to the benefit that one receives from sheep and from lamb. And the same thing, the benefit that we receive from the cattle will be also that the lion will serve the same benefit. And not only this, but we see another place where explicitly we find that these terrible animals will be assistants. Until even the snake, which is also referred to over there in Yeshaya Navi by the name Pesen or Tzipoini, these are different names for the serpent, for the snake. Yeshamash Godel. The Chazal say that when Mashiach comes, instead of what the serpent was at the beginning of the existence of the world, that was a big troublemaker, made a lot of tzarus. Instead, it will be a great servant. It will bring benefit. Not only will the serpent serve and assist in the service of Hashem, is even more so. The godless, his service and his assistance will be in a way of greatness. Shamash Godel, he will be a great servant of Hashem, a great service in great service of us. So even though we said already that the lion will serve man like the cattle does, and the wolf will be of assistance like lamb and sheep are of assistance now. In even more than that, the worst of the worst, the snake, the serpent, who was responsible for all negative things, not only will he be a servant, not only will he assist us, but the Chazal say he'll be a shamash gadol, he'll be a great servant. Okay, based on all of this, so it comes out then that from Iskafia, we go from Yitzias Mitzrayim, we go to Ishaq. And that is both on a daily basis. Every day we're doing more and more, breaking out of our boundaries till we reach the Gula Asida. And also we have in our own daily life, we have things that mimic the Gula of Mitzrayim, the Iskafia that we have immediately. And then as we progress, davening and so on, we get the transformation is hafka similar to the Gula Asid. If so, we really get back again to the question of why, when we have ishapcha by the Gula Asida, would we want to even mention Yitzias Mitzrayim? Yitzias Mitzrayim is only Iskafia. What significance, what value does Iskafia have in light of, in comparison to Ishap? Mashiach comes, we're going to be in the state of Ishapka. Why would we want to mention, why would we want to celebrate and mark and even remember the going on Mitzrayim, Iskafia? Now we're still in the way of Iskafia, and we're going on higher and higher in the way of Iskafia. So it's understood why we have to mention it. But when Mashiach comes, we'll be past the world of Iskafia. We'll be already in the level of Ishapka, of transformation. Why would we even want to mention the Iskafia when Mashiach comes? We'll be talking about that in tomorrow's Shir Be'ez Hashem.